Hello and welcome back to the channel. We're on YouTube and on um, uh, Rumble as well. And I'm mentioning that because uh, I don't know whether or not there's going to be a copyright issue. I have watched dozens now, I think, of this trailer, and I want to do something else too, and that is I want to share or recommend somebody. And let's see what this is. What this is
What you
doing.
doing, Zach?
My
Oh,
T-Mobile home internet is so good. I wish I could tell the whole world.
Zach, go right ahead.
bear with me a second.
T-Mobile's got
This is
home
not
internet.
What about
behaving properly at all. Thank you. There you got an ad for T-Mobile. Okay. But anyway, let me get this back to this. Here we go. One second here. Let's see here. Come on. This is crazy. It's acting like maniacs. So anyway. Oh, come on now. What I'm doing is I'm looking at a fellow's video. But you know how people pause videos and it just looks terrible? You know, it's got some weird shot or something like that. I don't want this to do that. I'm not trying to portray him in any bad light at all. So, but I think I got it. I think I got it again. So, here we go. What I've watched and what we're watching, you've already seen the um, the title, so you know what this is. Uh, this is a property that I grew up as enjoying watching the show, seeing the toys first before watching the show uh, in the stores, and I have these weird, vivid-ish memories of the store. It's like we were walking into a store, but we probably walked into a different store than the sign that I was looking at. So, and I don't need to mention the name of the sign because it wasn't it wasn't it wasn't the stores. But anyway, where we walked into, of course, I would find the toy aisle um, at the age that I was, and I don't know exactly the year. I would assume that I was um, in probably first grade. Uh, that's what I would assume, and therefore, I could ask somebody the year, but I would assume I was in first grade, maybe second, and I got into Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and the Masters of the Universe, uh, and into She-Ra when it came out, and all that. So somewhere around that time, I remember second grade especially, getting some books and stuff like that, and having toys before that, and collecting toys. And I had a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to get into all of the things that I had. What we're going to do is watch and go through, and I hope that they don't copyright these things. I guess I'll pause it and just kind of talk a little bit as I go along. But um, and I'm not going to say as much as some other people would say. Okay, so I'm not probably the greatest reactor or anything like that. So I'm not trying to be. But let's go on to the page here. Now this is from the official YouTube page. So, I mean, I want to promote that. That is Amazon MGM Studios. So you can see that on YouTube. And first, we've got uh, the teaser of the teaser trailer. So this came out almost a week ago now, and I'm looking forward to the next trailer already. I'm just telling you that. So let's go ahead and turn this one on.
Not long ago, when times were simpler, this was
You
a
remember
healthy
the day.
breakfast. This was a powerful workout. And this was a hero. Perhaps now more than ever, we need that kind
And
of
that's
hero
on Eternia.
again.
That's on Earth. And that is the whole of it. Now, this fellow that I'm going to recommend is right here, Pixel Dan. And I'm not going to watch this video here, but I will take you over to his Masters of the Universe trailer breakdown, secrets, Easter eggs, and what you missed. And I would recommend it. I have watched, like I said, dozens already of just everybody from more casual fans, some people that don't feel like this is going to be any good or whatever, other people just super excited. Um, Several videos of extended explanations and some people talking about the inspiration of the movie being from the Mondo release of toys, and I can agree the what they pointed out was like, yes, that looks like it to me too. Um, Not precisely the same, anything like that, but this gentleman, when it goes into the places of the different toys and toy store and stuff like that, he gives a precise and exact explanation of those things, better than anybody else overall. There might be one or two that give just as good of an explanation, or maybe point out a couple other things that he doesn't point out, but he's pointing them out from the perspective of the He-Man toys and the creator of He-Man, the um, earlier creations and things like that, because he knows that history and he presents that. He apparently wrote the book on the toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Looking forward to getting that as soon as it becomes available again. But yeah, I recommend checking his breakdown out. Check it out. It's 25 minutes long, so it's very brief, but he goes through it very clearly. Very, very good. And like I said, this other, I'm going to watch this later, not now. But you go and check him out. Pixel Dan, again, the author of the toys 700 something page book of the history of those toys. There's also a history of the He-Man toys. I believe it's a Netflix thing. So if you have Netflix, you can check that out. It's either that or it's from Prime Video. I'm not sure entirely. Um, and then, of course, on Prime has got the old cartoon right now and the 2002, I guess, reboot, if you will. So I'm trying to look at those and catch up. I've been just looking at the old one and the nostalgia and seeing what it was about again. And I had a friend just down the street that had more toys than me. Probably got me more into collecting them at that time, and I filled up, you know, the shelf full of toys. And won't bring out the toys today, but let's watch the trailer now so we can get to this.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. Paris.
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Summer.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
What am I supposed to do? Take the sword and protect them.
Just glimpses.
I have the power!
All right, so and kind of play it and think about it. So this is it really does look beautiful to me. I think this is well done um, as far as I'm concerned. The look of Eternia. The I've heard both praise and complaints about it. This is an interesting idea that people saying CGI looks great, CGI looks terrible. It's like, where are we coming from? How do we have both opinions about the exact same thing? This looks great, and somebody pointed out, if you will, that there are teeth here and holes for the teeth there, and called it the jaw bridge rather than a drawbridge. Uh, do with that what you will. But anyway, I think this looks great. And if you compare it to the toy, of course, the toy was green and it had a very similar look, but not exactly the same. It's all well and good, whatever, you know. Um, I think that this looks really good, and I don't look at all the details super well, but I do wonder about this that there are no um, pillars underneath these, and when it shows the longer out shot, further away shot, that it has an even larger section where there's no uh, pillars holding up the bridge. So that's an interesting idea. I mean, what's going on there? And anyway, should it be there? But as it goes on, I think that I I had the toys. Okay, the toys looked much like this. This looks very accurate in a lot of ways to the original, but still a an upgrade, if you will, because it was more of an animal base. Like the um, it would have more of a feathery look to it, something like that. So it didn't look as whatever you want to call it. It didn't look as clean and neat and sci-fi. It was maybe more fantasy, and fantasy based on uh you know the animal world. I guess the best way I can describe it right now. At least some of them, some of the vehicles. So they were, but some of those vehicles are almost precisely what what they look like in the cartoon. Slightly different coloration, or an upgrade on. I say an upgrade anyway on the um, on the details. Now, this is, it looks like to me, it's in Castle Grayskull. And this is the sword. And then, of course, we'll see just a moment later that the sword is on Earth. Now, somebody pointed out that the sword in the cartoon, or at least some point, I remember, of course, in the toys, that there were two parts and you put them together and it was the sword of power. Now, in rewatching from the very beginning of the cartoon, they don't start out saying any of that. They just start out with his magic sword and his explanation that he became He-Man and so forth. And then it just jumps right into, you know, an episode in the life, and then it goes back in some of the other um, the next episodes. It tells a little backstory here or there, and tells one or two backstories and stuff like that. But if we look at this, closing in, this is. I was looking at this and I thought, okay, that looks interesting if you look at it and really see. And then when you see the sword on Earth, there's this silver sheen to it. This looks more crystalline, I guess, is the way I would describe it. Maybe slightly purple. Maybe there's some kind of reflection of somebody standing there that is making it look that way. So, is it possible that this is half of the sword and the other half is on Earth? And there you go. At some point, they have to be united for him to become He-Man. I don't know, because I'm not that big into the lore and that much of a stickler of it all. I started reading the mini comics again. Just the very first one is quite different than, as it goes along. Doesn't even have the sword. Okay, he's got a shield and the axe, but he has a sword, but it's not, the iconic sword of He-Man. Neither is the remake in 2002. It's not the iconic He-Man sword, and yet I think it works though. Um, but there's a look to this, it's pretty interesting. And let's continue on. And of course, Zor, or the princess in the falcon form. I call it falcon. I'm not sure for certain about that. People have pointed out what this is in other videos. I'm not trying to retread all of that or spend a lot of time going over this. That's interesting. It's on that bridge as a young child rather, and then people have pointed out all the different things that are in his room, even the shoes that are on the floor, um, and all the drawings that are in the background, this medieval sword as well, and so forth. Um, yeah. And anyway, go and watch those. And yes, it would be a shame, in my opinion, if they did not allow the MGM logo to have Battle Cat uh, and or uh, oh man, I've lost the name and I just had it. It's escaping me because the way I'm sounding it out in my head doesn't sound right. But anyway, Battle Cat's alter ego, the scaredy cat, if you will. Um, Cringer, is that it? That's what I'm wanting to say, but it's just it doesn't sound right. But I had it in my brain, and I've heard it several times in the last few days. But anyway, whatever it is, y'all can correct me. But forgive me for losing it. But yes, I think should be in the logo. And if they don't put it in the logo, that's sad. That's just sad. It's a missed opportunity. and the fans would love it. Okay, they've changed it before. They could even, I don't know, they could have one roar by the lion and it morphs into or changes into this, just like they did with a Tom and Jerry movie at one time, or Tom and Jerry cartoons and stuff like that. They've done it before, so to do it now would be just epic, I think. All right, here we go. It's interesting. Love to see the context. I assume that some of this happens, or most of this happens at the beginning of the movie. Uh, that or it's a flashback. It's whatever it is. And an epic battle. It would be great. This I'm taking it as a joke and play on a He-Man. I think it would have been better. Just talked to another gentleman that said the same thing. That if it had said man here, that would have been so funny. In at least we feel that that would be so funny. That would be a good chuckle. And people have pointed out, if you don't know, Glenn is made a name for his mom, so he's on Earth with possibly her parents to, raise him from that young boy, and now he's working in HR. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about those kind of things. Looking forward to know who has helped him to find the sword. Walks into a toy shop or comic book memorabilia store, something like that. Whatever you want to think that it is. I've heard good and bad on both ends on this. Now, here's the thing. It never does, and maybe it will. Maybe he steps forward and goes out from him, and all this becomes, focused in on. That would be pretty cool for us to be able to zoom in and look at everything that's back here and just catch those glimpses of those things. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. I don't know whether I think this guy has got the part right, whether his hair looks right, and stuff like that. I am not looking for bangs across his forehead, okay? That's not what I'm looking at. But I am kind of looking at the sides of his hair and the feathering outward and stuff that's going on here. I do think though that the look is pretty good. Again, go check out Pixel Dan for an explanation of this and other background stuff. I don't know if he goes over these. Another couple of fellows that did an hour and 30 minutes or so video and going through comments and stuff went through all of these and tried to say what they might be. And I'm just having a hard time seeing. I want to say this looks like the Thing to me. And somewhere in here looked like a Wolverine and stuff. I'm looking at it on a much smaller scale than I was before. And this one was pointed out as to what it was as well. From somewhere, this Battle Hulk or something like that. So, yeah, and then this is a character by the creator. So you can, again, check out Pixel Dan for that. And there you see the sword. This does not, to me, look like it's the same sword. It just doesn't. Is it the other half, or is it just simply something that has altered its appearance? Or, I mean, what do you think it is? I'm not sure. I'm assuming they're the two halves. That's kind of where I'm going, and I hope that doesn't hurt anybody as far as what they were expecting, and then they see it and say, "Oh yeah," and I've ruined it for everybody. No, I don't think that I've ruined it for you though. So let's keep on going though, and Of course, he does not touch the sword there. He is trying to pull it out, so he's touching it. This summer, we don't have long to wait. I mean, my goodness, we are nearly at February. February. Uh, and this is coming out in June. This is not far away. This is, and I have been paying attention to this for at least the last, I think, 20 years that things have been being said. Watching Christian Harloff talk about trying to get it done, um, and that there were problems because people were trying to make it what it shouldn't be and stuff like that. And it's just they didn't have the right take on it. And then he said something about somebody that had the take. You can go check Christian Harloff out about that and search his history. But yes, this summer there were so many false starts, and I thought that this might have been a false start too, because there was a lot of concern coming out about this. But let's keep going here. Okay, going down. Now, some of this I can see looks a little CGI-ish. That may just be for the trailer, or it may be part of the movie. They could clean that up as they go. Now they're in the um, I forget the names of the toys exactly, but the Falcon rider, I assume. Anyway, there's his sword in the background. Uh, he has an odd look to him um, as Adam. And if you know the original toys and the original show, the the character, the body of Adam and He-Man is the same. It's a huge build. It's a large build, but some people are talking about it being a super bodybuilder build. Like, well, not exactly. It's as you watch it and see it, it's not that extreme. Well, at least it's some that I've seen. So and the biggest complaint I guess from that I've seen from some is that he's not big enough, that he's um, too small to be He-Man, and that they should have him be his size here, this little smaller size. He's not really that small. He's pretty well jacked up. He's built up the muscles. Um, But they're acting like it should change that by CGIing muscles on a larger muscular body on top of him, and maybe change his jawline or something like that, to make him more He-Manish. Uh, Whatever. I don't think so. Anyway, Tila is probably the second biggest complaint because uh, most and there's her sword in the background. But most of the characters have a very close and similar look to them. Now, of course, Adam's look is essentially sleeveless. Like, you can check out the design exactly, and then a wider open, shirt, and the white shirt with the sleeves, but the pink little vest-like shirt on top of it. Uh, Tila's outfit is quite different uh, in the show in a few different ways. I really didn't care that there was any of those differences, and so I'm just going with what is here. All right, that's not the best picture. Now I did notice also the ship doesn't go into a portal. If you that's rainbow. It alters into this rainbow warp form. Okay, um, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, people are more into the lore and everything else. The explanations, they can go into those deeper explanations. So real quick, we gotta get going. He's enjoying it. This looks good. It's not flawless. I'm wondering why the ship flies away. That's I don't understand that part because this is the part of the ship to close it up down underneath them. So, but anyway, we get a shot of Battle Cat or um, again, don't remember. Cringer. It doesn't sound right. And I hate that. But anyway, oh man, had the toys, had the toys, had the toys. Uh, I will say that the race swap of Idris Elba for the Man at Arms is maybe the most vocal of complaints that I've heard. So him being small is a pretty big one, uh, and his size is a legitimate idea. Okay, because He-Man's supposed to be strong and muscular. You know. Okay, I agree with that. The race swap the is no big deal. Again, eh, he's the adopted father of Tila. Him being a black man is not a problem. If people talking about the toys again, the toys had one. They had a female body type, and all the females had the same body. Okay, with some slightly otherwise designs on them or outfits to wear, something that would slip on top of them. Uh, um, a breastplate or something like that. Uh, Same thing with the shield of He-Man on his chest and had the straps going around the back. You could take that off, and it had different attachments. Okay, so they had different things and they had different shades to them, if you will. But the body type for the men was all basically the same. And then, of course, a little bit later, you had Orko, totally different body style, and stuff like that. But they made He-Man, and you basically just changed the head, and there's a different design for the body, but not the body type. The body mold type was the same for Skeletor, He-Man, Adam, and you name them, just across the board, almost all of them were the exact same, and they had some different molds for the heads to make a distinguishing feature for the head, and then of course the suits that they wore and stuff like that was the other big difference. So they had things like that, but as far as race colors and stuff like that, it wasn't even a thing that was thought of or considered or put into the toys. It is, as much as I can remember of the toys, none of that had any consideration. It just wasn't there. Okay. And for the populace that you could find in the cartoon, it makes sense. It's not like there's a huge bustling New York style millions upon billions of people in on the planet, so unless you, that doesn't really matter is really the point. And having it this way now is perfectly fine. To argue that it shouldn't be because the original toys were not is a bad argument. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So that's the bad argument, and this is a bad argument. So anyway, uh, but I think it was around here, and I was noticing maybe a little bit later in the trailer, just a difference in the hairdo of Adam or He-Man. Like right there, especially. That was especially different. And I don't know. I'm going to back it up without that. Now here, I assume they got into some kind of fight somehow because he looks bruised. But yeah, you see, his hairdo is slightly different. To me, it looks slightly better. There's some improvement to it. And I'm gonna back it up just one more time and put this on there. He is not wearing the sword. He's not carrying the sword. I'm kind of wondering what's going on. Did the sword get taken? Was something happened there? Um, I did not really look into detail as to what's laying around on this on the ground here in front of them. So maybe I'll go back and look at it. You can check those things out too. And of course, uh, again, check the other channels out for the other stuff. There's Man at Arms. Um, again, we don't know the story, so I'm not gonna try to speculate on it. So I'm heading in that direction. Again, I haven't slowed this down enough in order to see what all is going on, but it's just, there's an epicness to it. There's a very good look to it, in my opinion. And them walking in, talking, that ship looks excellent. That looks amazing. You say, why isn't it yellow? It's a little bit yellower in the other shot. This is like, sun shining directly on it, so it's gonna maybe look a little different. But I, when I saw it, I was like, that's amazing. Slipping my mind the original toys having a slightly different look because I do reflect back to the 1987 movie with Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella. And Frank Langella's makeup, despite what other people say, looks amazing. He's one of the best parts. Some people say the best part of that movie. Uh, and I'm not debating whether or not the movie is any good or parts of it. Definitely parts of it are good. But was it what it should be? Uh, Everybody agrees that it should have been something, a little different and better. So anyway, but I think that looks amazing. And if they have an earlier battle and he is it Candor? I think the name, when he doesn't have the skull face, then that would be very interesting to see that Jared Leto would be playing that as the purple body uh, and purple face and all that, and then it becomes Skeletor because, um, and I've only really seen the origin story part so far from the 2002 show, um, and then seen some toys, but I haven't rewatched enough of the episodes to get to the place where it tells his origin in the original series. And I don't even know that they do. They may not, but I assume they do. But we'll see. Anyway, he looks great. It looks fantastic. Spikor looks fantastic. These images of, and you just saw that um, Beast Man and Evil Lyn. By the way, it is Evil Lyn. Evil Lyn. All right, people will say, or it's Evelyn. I don't know. No, it's plainly saying Evelyn. They were not being subtle in the way they name things. Merman, and stuff like that. Spike Gore, Beast Man. Just really plain, really simple. Just right out there. Don't worry about sitting there trying to be subtle or anything like that. Like that shot, like this shot. And oh man, this is just that. Oh, that looks beautiful. Uh, Now I will recommend something here. Love the background part of that. Let me back that up one more time. That looks fantastic. And this looks really good. And if you slow it down and look at uh, his six pack and so forth, it looks fantastic. I heard somebody complaining that this was going to be really bad because uh, Skeletor is CGI, and they were talking about it like you'd be able to see that He-Man has real muscles and they're flexing and moving, and they wouldn't be able to do that with Skeletor. And I'm thinking, what in the world is that complaint? You know what I mean? That looks just beautiful to me. It's only slight, flat, quick, so quick, so fast. It happened so quick. Just, I think that this uh, outfit looks really good. So we're pausing in kind of a weird place. Of course, the original cartoon had a fur, uh, you know, uh, loincloth, if you will, and this has more of a battle look to it. Um, so I think it looks great though, and then this chest plate looks fantastic, and the gauntlets. Again, that goes to the Modo, or yeah, Modo, I think it is. MODO, I believe it is. Toy line. Um, yeah, again, check those other videos out to see those things. But like, just think this looks fantastic. Of course, pointed out uh, the axe, this Goat Man is, I think that was what they were saying. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But I think that this design looks very good. Um, whether or not it's perfect, I don't know. They're going to look at it a few more times. I think that Snake Mountain looks really good for what we've seen of it. In the cartoon, of course, the snake goes further. My friend had Snake Mountain at least. I don't remember if I did. But I did have Castle Grayskull. Um, this really did look very good. The you can see again, six pack. I think he's got the muscular build that makes it look good. And you're seeing this in movement, okay? So it's not going to look exactly like you may have always imagined a cartoon looking. Anyway, it all looks very good to me, I believe. And this part about going to Earth, so I'm going to cut back and we're just going to talk through a few moments, very few thoughts about this thing. I don't know the story that they're telling. Okay, from what I've heard other people say, it makes sense to say it this way as a way of explaining um, how they're maybe portraying that he's coming back, right? It certainly could have been taken another way. Like I said, you open up the cartoon and it's on Eternia, and and just goes from there. Just goes into uh, different things. Uh, so I will have to see how it plays out. I just see how it could work without a problem with him being on Earth for a very brief time in the movie. Very brief. And he was sent there to keep him safe by his mom because of the war that was going on. And maybe in this war, like the beginning of the 2002 cartoon, uh, is it Candor, Calor? I don't know. Kador? I don't remember. Whatever Skeletor's name is originally. And I think I got it wrong every single time. But anyway, uh, Kaltor maybe. But anyway, whatever it is, it's it's okay. It's he's repelled in the beginning of that movie, and the warrior is you know uh, the king uh, at that time, or becomes the king. So it doesn't seem that that's what's exactly going on, unless Skeletor's coming back at this point after Adam's born. It could be a couple other things, along those lines too. But it's hard to say. But that it could easily be told to where uh, he's got to escape. He's sent somewhere to keep him safe. Um, because his mom is from Earth, she's got some resource there, uh, and is able to, you know, get that to work. Um, and then what happens? Maybe Skeletor's coming back to try to uh, take over, like he's always doing in the cartoon. So you know, I don't know, but my overall feeling from this is I really am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Earth things just because of the nostalgia of it and those kind of references to things like that and a different time and stuff like that. I don't want them to play too much on it, as in our time versus the old time and stuff like that, years ago. Uh, but uh, if you lived it through being a fan of the toys and buying the toys and playing with your friends and stuff like this, with all the action figures and making up these stories and watching the cartoons and learning the lore and reading the books and eventually reading the comic books. Comic book store I went to the other day had the first issue with He-Man in it. I think it was He-Man with Superman in it. Anyway, it was priced at $160, and I just couldn't quite um, come to believe that that was a good idea for me to try to buy that. I just couldn't do it. Um, First time in comic books, though, He-Man. Uh, it was really, really cool, and I'll probably go back and look at it again because I don't think it's going to sell very fast. But yeah, did look. Oh man, makes me want to cry. Anyway, so but if you grew up with this and then you went through all of there was a stage show and things like that went around the country. Oh, I wanted to see that so bad. And then He-Man and She-Ra. There was the 1987 film, all right, with Dolph Lundgren in it, and we were like, yes. And us fans enjoyed it, and us as children enjoyed the movie, and we didn't care so much that it didn't spend the most time on Eternia. But at the same time, and there are other fantasy movies that that did something like that, where it stayed in another world the entire movie. So it can be done. It could have been done. However, most of the fantasy movies that you talk about like that, uh, many of them, were desert type things. Something like, I don't know, Beastmaster, but especially like Conan and the Barbarian Conan the Destroyer and so forth. They're set in a world that's not an Eternia kind of world, if you will. So there's some differences between He-Man and something like those movies. uh, that should be taken into account. Okay, especially with the vehicles of the world and stuff like that. And I think the '87 movie did pretty well. It made its own designs and everything, but for since that time, really, the fans of Man of Steel with the ebbs and flows. We grew up and lost interest. The toys fade away, and as we got older, nostalgia maybe kicks in, and we think, oh, how about those toys? Let's bring those things back. Now, I don't know what years and stuff like that. I'm not trying to trace the history. I'm just giving you some thoughts about this. But just a surge, and been hearing about the possibility of a movie for many years. The problem with that is so many old things, and this is going to be a fine line because it seems like there's humor pushed at the IP, if you will, the characters and toys and the designs and everything. There's enough that looks very close to original designs that is if they're playing it very straight, and very seriously, like this is simply the design of Trapjaw, for instance, and there you go. That's what he is. He looks great to me, and I hope they don't play it for the goofiness that also existed, because in the cartoons there was goofiness involved, quite a bit of goofiness, and it's okay. It's a children's show. It's and I want some of that to be there too. Some of it because there's this dad joke quality to it, which so many of the fans are going to relate to. Okay, and going to really enjoy. So it's going to be a hard thing to really pull off correctly. It's going to be very difficult for them to get it right. And so they've been dealing with that for a long time, I think. It's like pulling this up and somebody says, this is my take on it. And it's to this or to that. It's too off of the designs or whatever it is. And then all the cartoons of late from Netflix that came out. I think there was like 3 shows that showed up, maybe 4. Um, I'm not remembering exactly, but it just they weren't all that impressive. They really weren't. Some parts of it were great, and some parts of it were just they were not impressive. There was major problems with some things. In fact, I would venture to judge it as that major problems with some of the things that they put out there. But in any case, whatever you think of those cartoons, there's something about it. So there's a resurgence of of interest in the character and in the possibility of this live action movie. Um, and again, I don't really have a problem with Earth as long as I think they don't overwhelm us with it. With the '87 movie, it was all Earth, almost all. It starts out on Eternia, and then they head to Earth, and it has the '80s look of different things like that, Willow and stuff like that. But ultimately, the the way that it plays out in the '87 movie, there's some things that I think were really good. Some things that could have been much better uh, had it been in better hands. Um, it did not need to have all the Earth stuff that it did. Oh, excuse me. I'm not bored. I'm just it's been a long day, so I'm gonna get some sleep here in a moment. So anyway, but looking at this, hoping that those earthbound things are very short and to a point, give a good reason, a good point. Maybe the half of the sword was lost somewhere, and it needs to be recovered. You know, and he's aware of it, so you know, maybe it takes him this long in his life to be able to get to the place where he can um, uh, use technology that we have now to find these things. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that would have been much harder to find, you know, back 10, 15 years ago that now are, you know, at our fingertips in a totally different way, even though we had so much available to us even 10 or 15 years ago. It's very interesting. So anyway, I'm kind. I don't want to ramble. I'm not trying to ramble. I want to get to the point where I'm just saying that from the character design, the ship design, the world design for Eternia, um, and I'm open to people telling me that there are problems with this, but to me it looks really good, and it got me excited and surprised because I didn't realize it was coming out in June. But like, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see this movie. This might be my most anticipated movie for this year. Yeah, and that's with Spider-Man: Brand New Day coming out, Avengers: Doomsday, and whatever else is coming out. This is right now anyway most anticipated at this moment, and it's likely to stay that way. I'm anyway not to talk about or bash anything else. Again, growing up and having so many toys, um, the carriers and stuff like that, and friends having toys also. It's like they had certain toys that I didn't have, and we could combine them together as far as playtime, and then we'd have to separate them. We knew what was ours and everything. You know that if you grew up with it, and you know what I'm talking about, and just the nostalgia of it all. Um, and I think that my children were interested enough in this to where they're looking forward to the movie as well. Um, and we'll see, you know. And but my goodness, it's a long time waiting for it, long time looking for it, and glad that it's here. Almost, I mean, we are at the doors of it. We are so close. It's just, you know, and don't put out too many trailers. Don't put out a big synopsis. Don't give us a bunch of information. Please, Amazon, MGM, uh, actors, you know, all this. Don't sit there and reveal everything. Or for some of you, maybe just don't listen to a lot of different commentators that are going to be telling you what the story is without even knowing for sure what the story is. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just let it play out when it's on screen in front of you. That is going to be a key thing. I will probably see this in 40x if they have it in a 3D at the same time. That's going to be amazing. I think that'll be really enjoyable and fun. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy it. Go check out those other Pixel Dan and other reactions from people that are excited to see it. Like I said, there's an hour and a half one from some group that go through a lot of lore and stuff like that. So they talk about a lot of good stuff too. But Pixel Dan too, recommend him, and hope that you are looking forward to it too. If you like this, certainly put a like on here. If you like the content of the channel, subscribe to it. Maybe I rambled too much for you, though. But I do hope you enjoy and hope to see you in the next video. Bye.